Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw. Okay. You're a big softie. Okay.
I felt like they're a big part of my life,
Sure.
my children. So it's not a particular photo. I just picked a recent one of them.
Nice. So it's made here in Hong Kong, I guess? It kind of looks Hong Kong-ish.
Yeah, that would be in Hong Kong.
So 2 girls are twins?
Yeah, so I've got twin girls going on 8 years old.
Nice. They're hilarious.
Yeah.
They're really, really fun. They're a little bit savage in a good way of putting it. No, free range.
They're very energetic.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything is fair game to climb.
Yeah.
So
when I say in a good, so it's word usage changes depending on where you're from. So
well, yeah, they're not savage as in
free range.
Barbarian, bloody savage.
No, they're 2 cute, sweet little girls.
Savage, like savage surfing wave.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're badass. They're great. So they're standing there, and in a way, they're whether you think of it as consciously or not, they are reflections in them. There's either the obvious reflections or the subtle reflections in terms of their speech patterns, in terms of thought patterns, in terms of their behaviors. So from having been around them and been around you, I know that if they fall on the rocks by the beach, you're not going to helicopter in, most likely, with some heavy, you're pretty much like, okay, come on, sort yourself out. That was my impression.
I try not to pamper them too much.
Right.
Mother's always got a different tack on that a little bit, just maternal instinct, I guess, as well. But I don't try to be rough or harsh or sort of totalitarian. But yeah, I don't want to wrap them up in cotton wool too much. No.
How much is your parenting influenced by your boarding school experience?
Not as much as I wish it could be. If I went full boarding school on them, then their mum would definitely be pissed. Yeah. When you asked me what my hardest mountain I climbed was, I thought for a split second about when I was 8.5 going on. No, I was 8.5.
Okay.
I just started boarding school in Scotland. Never really done much hiking here, and they dragged us up Ben Nevis, the highest mountain in the UK.
Oh wow!
We went up the main cattle path. It's not technical or hard by our standards now as adults, but you're starting at sea level, and the mountain is over 1,300 meters tall. So it's more wild than what we made the people cry on Lantau Peak doing easily. And we went up. There's still snow on the top in the spring. The weather's windy and volatile. But yeah, I got dragged up there and I did it. I remember chowing a lot of Lucozade. There was a diabetic kid on the hike with us, and I chowed all his glucose tablets.
No.
He still had some left, but every 10 minutes, he's like, can I have another one, please? I'm like, get me up. So they're almost 8. If, 7 months from now, I drag them up Ben Nevis, I don't think it's going to happen somehow.
Okay.
And their mum would not probably.
Okay. Well,
she would say it's too much.
Don't you think that inside for example,
they're capable of it physically, even now. That's the thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But that's just it. It's like inside, it's all about like your internal bar, right? So for example, my daughter, has always been dragged along to do hikes.
Yeah.
Right? So we did Lantau Peak at night. And I was just like a little kid, badass. Like, she's climbing up, the wind was up, it's dark, and she was, I think, 11 or 10. And yeah, and it was just like, so it's one of these things where in the parental brain, you have to kind of constantly recalibrate and constantly go, okay, I'm thinking of you when you're 7, whereas now you're 8. You know what I mean? Like,
but I feel like why not do that if the kid is physically capable? Because in terms of it being a risk assessment, there's no risk.
Yeah.
Like if you're just taking them up not flat, but like a trail that's not got sheer cliffs either side.
Yeah.
It's a trail, and it's long and hard. Well, as long as you go with sufficient water and food and whatnot, the maternal instinct of the mother saying, "No, that's too much. Don't do it."
Right.
Like, well, what's the actual risk?
Right.
What harm can actually come of this, short and long term?
Right.
Yeah, but
So in my family, it's the exact flip. I'm the one who's like, maybe we shouldn't, and Delian's like, nah, she's fine.
yeah, go for it. This is the time to do it. Take them up that mountain when they don't have maybe irrational fears and inhibitions. Because the people who've probably had them as adults,
right, it's going to reflect that.
The root cause of that's probably a lack of proper exposure to things when they were kids.
Right. Do you have siblings?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not much to talk about.
No. Well, but it is interesting in terms of whether or not, like, it's not defining quality, but it is potentially an element to think about.
It makes you more independent.
Okay.
You got to learn to have your own fun as a kid.
Sure.
Because you can't play with your friends every day, even at boarding school.
Right. Okay. So clearly, an important part of your life right now, they're going to school on Hong Kong Island, which is a good, like, how long of a commute is it from here when you guys go?
About 45-minute drive in the mornings. If there's no traffic, you could do it in maybe half an hour or so.
Right. It's a commitment.
Yeah. So we're in this state of flux where we're doing this chat now as the property we own, and it's a bit far from the school they've started. So hopefully in the coming month we can get a tenant in here and move out and move closer to where they go to school. Right. Yeah, they shape my life. They're a big part of it. They dictate a lot of the script. Yeah. For better or worse.
Do they ever participate in your adventure tours? In a sense, no.
No, the only time they've ever really been on a tour, funnily enough, was with you.
Ah, okay.
Because the helper didn't show up.
Right.
But we got away with that because that particular day we weren't hiking anywhere. We were doing an event in a single location. Sure. No, they would like to come on a tour, and I would like for them to come on a tour. Yeah. But even if they could do it physically, there's still quite a high risk of them kind of distracting from my attention to the customer.
Exactly.
The tour then becomes about them and not the customer. Right. And you don't know who these people are on a tour. You can have a dialogue with them, but until you meet them that day, they could be anyone. Right. And they could love kids or they could find the kids quite irritating. Sure. And then once you got that 1-star TripAdvisor review, they're very hard to shake off. Normally they'll never delete the reviews. So you're always walking that tightrope.
So
when they're older, sorry to interrupt.
No, sure.
Definitely, I would love for them to be little tour guides.
Right.
There's a holiday job for pocket money or whatever.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
That is very cool. Okay.
You were going to say something. I cut you off. Sorry.
Which one's your favorite?
Depends which day. Depends which
question.
No, but I'm going to answer it. It depends. I do have a favorite, and it fluctuates usually from day to day because they're twins, and they're yin and yang. When one starts being, it's not that when one starts being good, the other things will be difficult. It's when one starts having a bit of a shocker and is being difficult, the other will sense an opportunity to I'm going to be the good twin. Give me the love and the attention. And that will stick usually for a day. So
I had no idea this was going to happen. Sorry, I was just being a shit. I'm really sorry.
Oh yeah, no, if I was on the fence, I just wouldn't have answered that question. But I'll be honest, I do every day have a favorite. This depends.
Do you tell them?
I say, you're being the difficult one today, aren't you? I'll be frank with them, and then they're frank back with me. Yeah,
I'm sure they're frank back with you.
But no, overall, of course not. No, you can't say that.
That's awesome. Okay, so in terms of so before when I met you, you had just come here from New Zealand. So why don't you talk about Because the tensions of running your business, of COVID, of the kids, like how did that all? Because in a way, like life is about tensions and relieving pressures, and it's like all of a sudden you have this pressure. Okay, have to move to Hong Kong, or this pressure of we want to be in New Zealand. So how? Like, why don't you talk about those tensions?
Okay. Well, it sucked to be in Hong Kong it sucked to be everywhere during COVID, right? But I would say the first year and a bit, as inconvenient as everything was, Hong Kong, we felt we were in a good part of the world relative to everywhere else. Yep. So you say, right, well, we'll do what it takes. And then things started to change over the following year or two. COVID cases would pop up here every now and then, and there'd be, not lockdowns, but there'd be an increase of restaurant restrictions. Sure. But it was all relative to what was happening in the rest of the world. And it got to a point suddenly where nearly everywhere else in the world, except for mainland China and maybe Australia and New Zealand, was just opening up and just getting back to normal. Yep. And then here we are in Hong Kong, just still being stuck here. Yeah. Can't do this, can't do that. Yeah, my business was flat. The kids weren't going to school. So you're like, well, what the hell are we doing here? I think it's about trying to find an optimal arrangement for everyone and give ourselves the best life. Right. And once things opened up in the rest of the world, but Hong Kong hadn't, it was not as though there was any pathway to things getting normal here. Sure. Everything indicated that things were going to get worse here.
Yeah, and frozen. And just
if anything, cases were, Omicron was going to come out and be more invasive, and cases would go up and things would get worse. So we got an opportunity with New Zealand's quarantine lottery system. We got a spot. So we'll bugger it. Let's go to New Zealand. That would be a great life. My parents are there. We can just basically touch down and hit the ground running to some extent. The kids have New Zealand passports, so they can go to school for free. Wow. You can just do it. Yeah. Lyric didn't have New Zealand citizenship, so that was a bit of a faff. We had to get there and figure out her work visa and her job there. But yeah, we not hit the ground running, but we got settled down and it was all good. And for the first year and a half in New Zealand opens up subsequently, and everywhere in the world opens up. Right. China and Hong Kong do it, and things get worse here, and we're pretty smug. Yeah. But then eventually, this year, things have settled down in Hong Kong, and we've just been plodding about in New Zealand, sort of just in this little town where my parents live, thinking, well, what are we doing here long term? Right. So it was a slam dunk to leave Hong Kong, but it wasn't to come back. We were quite torn. Right, got it. Capitalism won, I'd say. We're back here for the money, for Lyric, my partner, for her job, and me running my business as much as anything. But the kids are in a good school, so if they're losing out, it's because they've made some friends in New Zealand who they're now not in touch with, and they're maybe not out as much with bare feet on grass and stuff. But they're 8 years old, 7 years old. They'll make new friends.
Hong Kong is a great place for kids.
It's
very safe. It's very and I think if they've got a parent or parents who value the outdoors like you do, like I do, it's a great place.
Yeah, and there's clubs you can be members of here that have facilities and things and amenities for kids. I mean, the school they're at now, there's a load of stuff in that school they don't get at primary schools in New Zealand. Sure. Bigger budget. Got a 3D printer. I don't know, all these little skills and utensils and little skills. So it's a more rounded education they're going to get now. Sure. Okay. Yeah, so we're trying to just do the best for everyone.
Of course.
I don't know about tensions, but that's all what feeds into our decision making. Right. So it's trying to find what's best for everyone individually and collectively in the family. Yeah. Okay, well then, let's go to the last photo. The last photo. It's flying by.
It's flying by, man. So, is life really a gift? Really? Can you make every second count? That's the whole point of the podcast. So, if you like what you've seen,
and you're inspired, because that really is my mission, then please give it a like, subscribe, and share.
Shooting it raw?
Yes, shooting it